The problem with going slow on a motorcycle is stability, right? Like right now, you're at 0 stability. If you put your feet up, it would just fall over. If you were to roll at 3 miles an hour, you would have enough stability to actually ride and be upright. So you have to first get really used to riding really slowly. So like when you're in traffic, right? You're creeping behind cars. You're not like putting your foot down every 3 feet. You're sort of creeping along. That's the stability you need to maintain, is at least that. Okay, you go a little bit 1 mile per hour slower, you're going to lose stability. 1 mile, now the other end of it, at 1 mile per hour faster, you're going to get an exponential more stability. But you can't go too fast because then you can't make your turn unless you lean more. Remember we talked about before, for a given radius, the speed has to match the lean angle. You can go faster, be more stable, but you're going to have to lean a lot more to stay within the tight radius that you're aiming for. You have to maintain steady drive. That's a drive that has your bike being stable. We know that the throttle on most motorcycles is very touchy, especially in first gear going 4 miles an hour. So we can't rely on the throttle to maintain a steady drive. It'll be lurchy the whole time. You can't control the stability, the drive that way. So how you do that is you rely on your friction zone, and you keep the throttle steady. Now, it could be that you're revving it a little bit, just a little. It could be like, to guarantee that it won't stall. Because stalling, you lose all your drive, you lose your stability, and you have to put your foot down. Okay? So you don't want to rev it like crazy, but you keep your throttle steady. Now, some bikes, like mine, if I go in certain conditions, I can pretty much idle it. The bike will keep running. But a lot of bikes, you can't trust that. You have to give it some throttle. You fine-tune it even more by dragging and your rear brake. Okay? I tend to dab it a little bit. It just gives me a better feel. But that rear brake is going to refine that speed adjustment. And so if you're going 5 miles an hour, drag the rear brake, go down to 4. Oh, went down to 3, release the brake a little bit, just a little. So you're just kind of dragging it, all right? So with the clutch halfway out, give or take, the throttle steady and dragging the rear brake, you're going to maintain that steady speed you're looking for. Now, that whole thing is just talking about keeping a steady drive. So when you make the turn, you're going to get up to speed out here. You're going to look over your shoulder because you always look and then you go where you're looking. You're going to crank your head all the way around. If you think of this as a circle, you want to have your eyes pretty much in the center of your circle. Pretend I have a cone right there. And your eyes can be kind of down, but you look at them down, and then as you finish up, you get your eyes up looking down the straightaway. So your head turns. You now lean the motorcycle. And yes, at 4 miles an hour, you countersteer. It's so slight. So you're going to countersteer, press to the left. The bike's going to start leaning, and your front tire is going to naturally turn in toward the corner. Let it. Okay? You have to control it. Some bikes I've ridden before, you get into that lean, and I have to actually keep the handlebars from turning too much. Okay? But that's what's going to keep the balance, as long as you're steady with the throttle. As soon as you introduce a variable, like chopping the throttle, touching the front brake, which is a huge no-no, no fingers near the front brake, then that throws in a variable, and you're going to have to put your foot down. You want your body to be counterweighting because your bike has to lean. But at 4 miles an hour, if you leaned with the bike, that gives too much of a lever for gravity. So you want to keep your body upright, but the bike has to lean, so that's how you counter that to keep in balance. And then the final thing, whether you do that just by sitting, keeping your butt in the seat, or whether you want to shift your butt off a little bit, and you would weight the outside foot peg. Either way, weight the outside foot peg, whether you move your butt or not. And then as you come around the corner, somewhere around, when you've clearly made the turn, then you can start to pick up your speed because you want stability. So at this point, you're at 4 miles an hour, 4 miles an hour, 4 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour, 6 miles an hour, 7, 8, 10, and off you go. Okay?